What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today you catch me at work again, and I'm replacing a prop shaft on a Suzuki 150. I couldn't find a video on how to actually take this out on this motor. And my question was, do you need to take out the shift shaft on the motor in order to get this out? And the answer is yes. If that was your question, there you go. But otherwise, stick around. This right here is a Suzuki 150 lower end, and I'm replacing the prop shaft. So I couldn't find a video on how to do all this, so I had to figure it out, and I'm making the video backwards. So I already have it apart, and I'll show you how to put it back together, which will be, it's the same process to take it apart. When you finally get to the end and you pull the prop shaft out, you got to transfer this part right here and this part over to your new shaft. I already transferred it over. This is the old one right here. It's bent. But basically, you just get this little spring clip, stretch it, and pull it over the edge. And then there's a little pin in here, which will drop out, and then this can slide out with this and a little shaft in there. It's got a spring. Put it back together the way you found it. And then once you switch out your actual prop shaft, it goes inside here. It's gonna be a little tricky to do with one hand. And the prop shaft will actually, you want this little, the open side facing upward, and just drop that. Your shift rod goes here. So you actually have to take that out to get the prop shaft out, because if you look at the end, this right here is what sits in that little piece. I'll put it up on the screen. This goes inside. So in mine, the little lump right there, you want it to face like that, not straight up and down, but just tilt a little bit. It goes to the bottom. Now, if it doesn't go down all the way, probably because when you put that prop shaft in, that piece that was supposed to be facing up is not facing up straight, which I think is what happened, because let me try to use one hand here. There you go. So this piece cannot be tilted. The shift rod will sit in this right here. So you want that to face straight up and down when you put that in. All right, so I got that in there. Now for your shift rod, push it down until it stops, back down to where it was. Then you're gonna get the cover. Cover slides on like that. Now you do have to remove your water pump to get this cover off. And now it can slide back underneath. Now it has an O-ring in there, so be careful, make sure it's in place properly. It's got two screws that go in, tighten those two down, and then this little hose piece was right on here, so you can thread that back on. And then you got this little piece of rubber which goes over the shift shaft. Okay, so I got those tightened down. Now, this is the water pump impeller. It's got a keyway right there, so you got to make sure that it's lined up properly. And then you can go ahead and push it on. Okay, that has to go on all the way. Make sure it is touching the metal plate, and then you get to the water pump housing. Now for this, to replace the water pump, there's actually a whole video on my channel where I do the whole maintenance for this engine, the Suzuki 150. You want to push down on the cover, spin the shaft a little bit, help get it in place. Now make sure that the water pump cover is sitting flat, because there's actually a gasket in there, like an O-ring style gasket. Not the one on the metal plate, but underneath here. You want to make sure that that is in place so you can't have any gaps. Put in the 4 bolts. You don't need to crank these down. Just get them snug. And this is actually the reason you can't run these motors out of water, because that rubber impeller is rubbing on that metal, and this is always spinning. Doesn't matter if you're in forward or reverse or even neutral. That impeller will be spinning on that metal plate, and it can cause damage. So that's why you can't run these motors out of water. Tighten these down, get them snug, and move to the next step. Okay, so the water pump's back in, got the shift shaft down in there. Now this whole unit can be put back up into the motor. Your drive shaft rod obviously goes through that big hole right there. And your water pump, you'll know that you got it on right if this hole is on this side. As you can see, it goes over top of that right there. And then your shift shaft, this right here, has to go into that. So pick this up, put it into there, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. And then you actually got one up there. I'll show you how to do that. You're gonna put the drive shaft right up in there. That little hose that was on the back, make sure that goes up where it's supposed to go. Now, if you got an extra person, this is a little bit easier to do with 2 people, that's for sure. And then line up your shift shaft. You're gonna wanna wiggle it so everything lines up. Make sure that drive shaft goes in. You might need to use your fingers to turn the shift shaft. There we go. It's all the way up. Got it up in place. I'm gonna get one of the bolts and put it in by hand all the way up far as I can go. There we go. So this big bolt I was talking about, it goes up underneath, right up into there, and you just tighten that down. That, you want to make sure you get that in there nice and tight. I don't know what the exact torque specs are, but it is pretty tight, that's for sure. Okay, so I got the 3 bolts on this side tight, the 3 bolts on that side tight. I got the bolt up in there tight. Now we gotta put on this little fin right here, and that just goes up just like that. And then you gotta, when you take it apart, make sure you remember exactly where it went in terms of the angle. This one was turned all the way to the last spot. There we go, got this in. Now we can continue with the prop shaft. So right now it's able to spin, the shift shaft is in, the bottom end is put back together. Now it becomes a matter of just putting everything back in that you took out in the same order. Now I did get some new seals for the motor, and there's a couple different ones here. We have this O-ring right here, and then you got 2 prop shaft seals back to back right in the front there. And those prop shaft seals look just like this, so we got 2 of those. You can get those replaced as well. All right, we're gonna slide on the first set of parts that came off. Now it's got to go on perfectly straight in order to slide on. Then I get these prop shaft seals out. I don't have a seal remover tool, but I do have this, and it seemed to work fine. There we go. Here's the 2 seals. They just stack on top of each other like that, so make sure you clean this out nice and good. When you put your new prop shaft seals in, you don't want to put any grease on here, but you could use a gasket sealant. But if you put grease, you could possibly risk it spinning on the wall here and ruining the seal. This right here is an 1 3/16" socket. It fits over the seal perfectly. And then now you can just push that down until it sits down at the bottom. And then you can feel underneath to make sure that gasket is sitting down on the bottom evenly. It's a press fit seal, so you don't want to put grease in there on the outside, but you do definitely want to put grease on the inside. Get our socket on there, push it down. Now when you're putting your parts together, these bearings and everything, make sure that you put some gear oil on there. That way you don't put them together dry. And I got all the little roller bearings in there, got the spacers. Now when you took the bearing carrier out, if a bunch of these little rollers fell out, that's okay. Make sure you clean them off. Make sure there's oil on them and put them back in. And then you just get your gear here and then just gently set it in. Make sure they're all still in there. And then this whole assembly can then be put back onto the prop shaft. I'm going to actually clean this out just a little bit, wipe it down, and then we can go ahead and slide in the bearing housing. And I'm going to get a little bit of marine grease and put some grease on the inside of the prop shaft seals. All right, so I tightened down both of these bolts, and then we're just going to put this piece back on here. And now we can put the new propeller on, and this shaft is now straight. Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram at KB_KingBuilds. Also on my channel, I have some maintenance videos for a Suzuki 150. These 2 motors actually, so you can go ahead and check those out as well. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.